snow is falling and Mackenzie headed to Mount Bachelor to give us all the gear tips for ski season.
I'm up at Gravity Sports at Mount Bachelor with Mark Elling, and we have been talking a little bit about girls' skis and boots and how it's not all just fluffy and pink anymore. There's some really cool graphics on these things.
Well, the women's specific gear world has really exploded. And first thing I should say is I'm here talking about the women's specific gear, but we've got some really talented women salespeople and boot fitters and good athletes that work here at Gravity Sports. So we use their input to generate what we bring into the shop.
Yeah.
But we do a really good job with that. And the point is, you know, women are athletes on snow too, and so it isn't just the chicky graphic that appeals.
Yeah.
And product these days is really built for the women's anatomy and the woman skier. So what you'll find typically with skis is it's constructed a little bit softer in a given length to deal with a lighter weight athlete, and sometimes the way the center of the ski is set up for balance is a little different for women, in case there's just a little bit of a different center of mass than a man skier.
Yeah.
And so what you see here is the same spread that we've talked about before with skis, which is the narrowest skis for more of a smooth surface on groomers, let's say, and the widest ski for your deepest snow day, and then a couple different options in between. So the woman skier really has just as many options as men these days, and they're not getting kind of the short end of the stick performance-wise anymore.
Or graphically. These are really cool compared to what I've seen in the past with flowers and like
you know,
pony on it.
to each her own. Some really like the bling and some are looking for something that's a little tougher.
Yeah.
When it comes to boots, the defining difference between the woman's foot and lower leg really comes down to the calf muscle and then the narrowness of the heel. So when you look at a woman's ski boot specifically, you'll tend to find a lower fitting cuff and often a more flared calf fit. This is a good example in this Technica boot on the wide end of the spectrum. It really opens up to accept a wider calf shape, and this is a wide fitting boot. So for someone who's got a higher volume foot and a pretty muscular calf, it's a great option for that person.
Yeah.
On the other end of the spectrum, this is a narrow fitting boot. It's got a super narrow heel and a fairly slender fit in the calf. So depending on your calf and your foot shape, there's a way of mixing and matching to find the right boot. This is an interesting boot from Solomon. It has a really open calf fit, but it also has an adjustment in the back to make that calf even more open or more narrow. So those are kind of the keys, something that fits the calf, something that fits the heel, and then something that's appropriate for how a person skis.
And how big of a difference does it make when someone tries on something with a calf adjuster versus back in the day when you just pull on a boot and it's the way it fits is the way it fits?
Yeah, there's a lot of options for adjustment, and there's a lot of options between models to find the right match. And the key is really working with someone who knows the boot line and understands selling and fitting boots to kind of weed out the riffraff and the many different options that you might have and get you down to 3 or 4 to choose from. And it's real apparent once people start trying on boots, you can choose the one that's most comfortable, kind of most snug, but most comfortable at the same time.
Yeah, and we've talked about how backcountry trends are coming into regular skiing as well. Now in this boot, I see it has the hike ski on it.
Yeah, good eyes. So this is a new
technology.
boot. This is the all track, and this is a feature that allows this cuff to release. And instead of being stuck in that forward leaning ski boot kind of position, you could actually stand up straight. So this is really nice just for a convenience factor. You could be in the parking lot or taking kids to ski school, hanging out in the restaurant, and that's a really more comfortable way of standing around. And then you just got to make sure you put that back in ski mood before you go down.
All right, well, thank you, Mark. Lots of new technology to talk about, and it's all up here at Gravity Sports.